Okay, this is the reverse flyback motor design. It's not a generator design. I took out uh, I removed, how do I say this? I removed the flyback from hitting the battery. So basically, before the flyback would come out here, this diode here, the high voltage diode, and it would go down here and hit the battery. Now it's hitting the coil. Give me 1 second. So before it was hitting, the flyback was hitting the battery down here before. There was 2 batteries and some capacitors and some Zener diodes, and you can see that in the other videos. But now this is a motor design, not generator. Based off the Bedini SG circuit. This is the Bedini SG times 2, open source, open to be modified as well. Um, so basically the flyback comes out here. So this top coil gets charged by this battery, and then it will fly out here. The flyback will fly, the positive of the flyback will come out here. It'll hit this side of the coil, and the negative of the flyback will go this way and hit the other side of the coil. So in this way you'll have essentially for one pulse on one coil, you'll have another pulse on the other coil right after that. It's kind of like lightning fast. So you could put 2 magnets 180 degrees apart around a rotor with these 2 coils, and it'll get spin. And when those 2 magnets 180 degrees apart rotate 90 degrees, you'll have another 2 magnets on the other 180-degree angle for the bottom coil, for this bottom coil and this coil will be lined up for those other 2 magnets on the same rotor. So 4 magnets on one rotor. And when this bottom coil receives positive forward plus here, this side, forward voltage, minus here, switches will then open, fly out, flyback will come out here, hit this side of the inductor, and the negative flyback will go up here, up this way, or this way, and hit the other side of the same inductor. So then you'll have another 2 coils getting a field charge on the 90-degree, for every 90 degrees. So if your rotor spins 90 degrees, it switches to the other 2 coils that are 180 degrees apart. So I will draw that really quickly. Let me show you here. So you have a rotor. Excuse me. Where is that? You have a rotor, right? Let me get this there here. Draw a circle. You have 4 magnets on the circle, all facing north outwards. You'll have 2 drive coils. Right there. Oops, my bad. You're not going to do this wiring, by the way. You're just going to use the circuit as shown and place the two of the four coils. You take one pair and you put them 180 degrees around the rotor. One switching pair. Uh, Again, one coil is receiving forward DC power, and the other coil receives flyback. But it happens so quick that it's like the same instantaneous. So you put it here. Those two, that one pair of coils. The other pair go up here. Okay. And going back to this circuit, one of those pairs of coils 180 degrees apart would be this bottom one, which then when these two switches close, charge up this coil, then these two switches open, it flies out this way, flies back into this coil. So these two coils would be, let's say, the top two here, all right, these two. And then these two coils you'll put over here on the horizontal axis. And now you can add a trigger winding. Since you're going to have magnets passing one of these coils, you can add a trigger winding here. Or you can, let me just say this another way, you can trigger these two transistors at the base, hit the base of both of these transistors at the same time with the same wire, trigger winding. And how you would wire that up here would be, I believe it's the, I don't know, I think it's I think it's here, you know. Well, and I guess wherever your magnet passes, if you have a core on this electromagnet, imagine there's a core here, and your magnet passes over it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one end goes to, let me get this straight. The trigger winding was tied to the emitter of the transistor, and it was tied to I think it was tied to the negative of the negative rail of the battery, the same battery that charges the bifilar. So it might have been like this. That's your negative of the battery. I believe the trigger winding is here, and negative goes there, and the emitter yeah, And I believe the other end goes to the emitter of the, which would be the emitter, collector. So the collector is right here. This is the collector side of your transistor. And the emitter would be right here, I believe. So that's where you would wire up your trigger winding. And your trigger, when the switch closes here, it would receive 12 volts would go through the wire. Or when the magnet passes over it. It's confusing, but yeah, you'd have to follow the way Bedini wires up the trigger winding to add a trigger here. But basically, you could trigger this however you want to. Um, I'm just saying, instead of having a battery charging, instead of having a generator system, this can be a motor system like so. And these two coils would drive the horizontal magnets here. Okay, these two. And these two would drive these coils. And there you have it. So in this system, the batteries are not receiving charge at all. What's going on is the right battery will charge up. Green is your forward charge. Let me just do this over because I should have made it the other way. Right. So the red coils are receiving 12 volts forward charge from your battery. The green coils are receiving flyback charge. There you have it. That's another way to utilize the flyback with this circuit. There's another way, Um, some people just put two coils in series and then fly back that into another two coils in series. You can do that also. In this case, one coil is being pulsed, not two. And yeah, it's kind of the same difference. um, but when you have two coils in series, you 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 can trigger it with a trigger winding as well. It doesn't matter. There's many ways to utilize the flyback. One way is to have two coils in series flying back into another two series coils. This way is to pulse one coil and oh man, I got this. That one gets pulsed and then it flies back into this one. Dot, dot. So yeah, I got this wrong. Let me do this again. So it basically goes like this. This is what's going on here. with this circuit. So the bottom coil is pulsed by the left battery, and then it flies back into this coil. So what you'll have here is pulse the bottom coil, and then it flies back into here. So that drives these two magnets. And then the top coil is pulsed by the right side battery, and it will fly back into this coil. And that's your other coil, top coil here, pulsed, and then it flies back into this coil. So that's how that's operating. That's how this motor would be run with this circuit. All right. Happy Sunday. This is open source. Reverse flyback motor. John Bedini SG ×2. Open for mods. Open talk, open mic. Let's talk. See if we can get this thing modified in many different ways. This Bedini SG circuit. Talk to you later.